We're going.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Candy, and I'm from Bex's Live Feeds. So you might recognize the rig behind me. It was something Ren and I built, and she built it based on my taste and my needs and what I thought was important to me. I changed my mind too many times, for sure, because originally it was going to be a log cabin. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's really difficult. So my next favorite thing in life is a red barn. I lived with them most of my life, so we built a red barn. Exterior wise, you can see that I have only one stripe on this side. And as you can see, it does go the opposite direction, making a perfect Dex if you could see it visually. I bought 14-inch hexagon windows. Two of them I purchased opened halfway, which gave a great circulation throughout the rig. We changed out the tires to 5-inch 30s by 12 from the 4-inch 30 by 12, which gave it a little bit more stability because it is kind of tall for my car. And here's my car. My car is a 2017 Kia Niro hybrid. So it actually has electric motor and gas motor. It doesn't do that plug-in stuff. I have to drive slower than most people, but I'm okay with that. The K is for my name. I decided on the 2 for Candy's Castle. So we've spelled castle with a K. So we have propane tanks. I have 2 11-pound propane tanks under here. They're attached to a dual automatic regulator that both feed into a single hose line that go to my Camp Chef. All right. Solid window, 14-inch. It's from that same collection that I purchased. So my door opens up completely, and we have a hook, latch hook, that allows it to stay open, so that I can just enter and exit whenever I want. And I've utilized the As Seen on TV screens, so they work great. And you can see the entry is kind of small, but once you get inside, you have a ton of room. I have nearly a foot above my head. Yeah, come on in. Come on in and see. So these are tea candle holders, and they were made by somebody that's special to me. Were made by Ruth, and they were supposed to hold tea candle, the little tea light things. But I thought fire inside the rig, other than my stove, was probably not a good idea. So I've added some of my homeliness to it, which is my favorite football teams, Cleveland Browns and the Washington Redskins. On my ceiling, I put my most favorite prized possessions. They speak for themselves. I have a drum head. This is my Buck Cherry 2014 concert that I went to, and I had it signed by everybody. I carry photos with me because I want to make sure that I have my family with me when I'm on this adventure. So I have my children, and I have my granddaughter and my other little granddaughters. But Ren did all the electrical work and did an amazing job. I have an MPPT 130, and it is then connected to my batteries, which go down below, but they do run straight up into my fan. They run my lighting, and I have multiple lighting. I have some LED color lights that interchange and fade. They also can be solid, they can be dim or bright. And then I have some regular Christmas lights that I hang on the ceiling that are a really good nighttime ambiance for just like relaxing, maybe reading a book or something. It's not too bright and not too dim. So up here I have 2 cabinets that hold my clothes. So a lot of things are just rolled. I'll show you inside. I have a couple. I have things falling. I have a couple, you know, I have like my shirts and stuff and socks and underwear and stuff up here, but you know, I try to protect like the garment stuff that's important by putting them in a container of some sort. That way they're not falling around. As you can see that the door is colored and the walls are kind of just regular wood grain. You probably saw all the colors around the lower half of my rig. And that was very important to me. I call that controlled chaos, and it just makes me feel calm. So here we are. I'm actually sitting on my bed, and I do apologize. It's kind of warm in here because I don't have my fan on its max system to circulate the air properly because we are doing this video. What I have in here is I have a rain censored trailer fan. When it rains, it closes and it sucks in air or it sucks air out, whichever. And I have it usually during the summertime that I've figured out is best that if it's going out. We have a 12 volt USB and power charger here. It helps charge my phone, keeps my laptop running. And all of this MPPT, which is my charge controller for my batteries and for my solar is a 320 watt single panel. And then all these wires, you can see they run down into a hole and then they come out this door right here. And you will see where my batteries are stored and connected. And they are both, there's two of them. They're 155 amp hours. So I basically have 310 amp hours on a 320 watt solar panel. I should be able to charge anything for a very long time. I'm sitting on my bed, and you might see that I have peace signs everywhere. Well, those peace signs are a representation of my oldest grandchild. These were her sheets, and I couldn't think of a better bedding to put on my bed other than peace signs, because that's where I'm at. I'm in peace. So that was really cool. And we struggled with the bed decisions multiple times. We were going to run it long ways down the rig. And at one point it was going to be a Murphy bed style. And then we realized we would lose space. Then it was going to be a solid bed. And then I realized that I couldn't move my refrigerator, which is just below me under my bed, which has great circulation because it needs it, because it is a regular fridge. It has a compressor and everything. I explained that my space for walking was not big enough to be able to pull this fridge out for my body size. I'm a very small person. So the bed had to come up here, and it had to go widthwise. I'm 5'3", my bed is only 5'1", but if I lay perfectly at a catty corner to the rig in my bed, I have more than enough room to do that leg stretch that we all really, really desire in the middle of the night. So, and we put some really great storage above my head. And this was Ren's idea, to put these little nice folds in them, which makes it really easy to grab stuff. And I have curtains so that in the winter I can make sure that I stay warm. So I bought this 2-burner Camp Chef, and we just recently ran the gas line going through the same hole as my battery hole, and everything worked out perfectly. We just had to do a little bit of a loop to make sure that the line stayed secure. So when and if we are in a better temperature climate area, I can actually pull my stove right out of there and take it outside and go cooking. And we use just regular L brackets, a little bit of like Velcro rubber strips to support it so that when it bounced, it didn't bounce and make a lot of noise. I have a little, I have cutting boards. I have storage down here. It holds all my winter clothes because I do have winter, and it actually holds my pots and pans. I only needed like 3 or 4 pots. Yeah, so my fridge has beer in it. A little bit of vodka, just saying. That's probably the first thing you're gonna see. But it runs about 34 to 36 degrees on an average. It's only plugged in to a regular cigarette lighter 12 volt kind of thing. And it opens perfectly to be able to reach any portion of this refrigerator. So that was a very huge benefit. And then just outside just before you get to my door, I actually have a Dometic toilet. Yeah, this is a very, very easily slid out. We have a rope for it. Yeah. But it's a pump style, so you can pump it. This is where your water goes in. There is a pull valve on the front side here that flushes for you. And it makes it really nice. And it's a 5 gallon, 5 gallon. So I have a 5 gallon reserve and I have a 5 gallon dirty. Which isn't very difficult. I do like that. Oh, my floor. My floor, and I want to say this, is this was found at Lowe's, and I don't know if every Lowe's has them, but you can go find like the kiddie mats that the kids play on at the preschools and stuff. This is a 1-inch foam rubberized floor mat, and yes, it gets dirty and it gets dirty quick, but it is so soft on the feet and it's super simple to just wipe down. I recommend any kind of flooring that's like got a little bit of thickness to it and a little bit of support for your body. So yeah. So there's a little hook and you just snap them closed. And so they open. You can leave them like this, but then they will fall eventually. So they have a little arm that you put in a hole right there. And it snaps. It stays open. It stays open all the time. I don't ever worry about this window. Now the one on my door, if I pull it up completely on its halfway mark, I can shut my rig and leave for work and it will stay open and continue to circulate the air. So 107 out and I come into 98. I find that better than 107. I love my rig. So these are drumsticks from bands that I have seen. This is Buckcherry, once again, who I said was my favorite band. And this was my very first hard rock concert. It's called Drive A. And I actually chased these guys in the streets of San Diego outside of the House of Blues to get this drumstick. And that drumstick at the top is one of my very best male friends. His name is Doyle Meredith. He's an amazing drummer, can drum blind. And that's his stick, and I will hold that one true to my heart. And then over here I have my memorabilia of guitar picks around this window that I've collected through all the concerts I've been to. And then this is from Bex and Ren. We went to the lake. I went for a stroll while they swam, and I found this beautiful black raven feather, and it was in perfect condition, and I'm going to leave it that way. So I've hung it in my window just as a memory. Well, I've always, my whole life, wanted to live a life that traveled across the country and get to see things that I've never seen. Even though I've traveled across the country with my mother when I was 12, I remember at 9 I wanted to be a truck driver, and then I knew that by the time I was 18 I wanted to live in a trailer, whether it be an RV or a rig or whatever you want to call it. And I met the most amazing person who invited me to many amazing places, and I met two handfuls of amazing people that showed me that possibilities are there. You just have to make them happen. And after meeting them, I said, that's what I want to do. And so, you know what, I can't but not name her. And Ren said, Candy, I'll help you build a home. I'll help you build it. And I started purchasing. I bought a 4x6 trailer from Lowe's for $600 and started buying all of the things that I needed to accomplish this goal. And I couldn't be happier. I now save money. I no longer have a rent payment, an electric bill, gas bill, water bill. I don't have those things. I'm free to do whatever I want. And I have goals, you know, as far as income, because I won't be able to live on my savings forever, which I've actually finally accomplished. So I want to possibly go into freight brokering like my daughter. She does it. She makes more money than her mom. But yeah, she makes really good money. So I know that I can survive on things that she does. My future is kind of set in stone. It's just getting there. I want to see everything. I want to see everything. So that's how I got here and why I'm here and where I'm going with it, like, for sure.
Well, as you can see, so she said she wanted a 4x6 trailer, and I stood in a 4x6 trailer and went, how in the heck am I gonna do this? And she came at me with a bunch of ideas that were different from kind of a traditional engineer's look at things. So actually us working together, I love this build because A, I think it's cooler than my rig actually, and B, I learned how to build for someone else. This was a project that we built from the ground up. When we had this, it was just a metal frame. And all the things we learned as we went through this, the staining of the walls in a rainbow pattern, like all of it took so much work, but when it was done, her house is actually better thermally than mine. It is very cool in here. It is cool in here all the time. I went ahead and gave her a very similar setup to what I have for solar as well. So she's got 310 amp hours of battery, 2 155 amp hour AGM batteries. I love these things. They're pretty bulletproof, whether it's heat or cold. So that's why I say stick with those. For your average person, especially a woman out here, the reason why everything's on the walls, the reason why everything's centrally located in one spot is so that way they can take care of it. So we made it super simple. Everything's visible for a reason. Every time she walks in, she can get a read on what's going on in her rig. I recommend at least 200 amp hours battery. There's some people that say 100. As power needs are just going to continue to go up, that's the bottom line. 200 amp hours of battery is good. She has 310, and then she's powered by a 320 watt panel up on the roof, which for her power needs, all of it, running her computer, anything else she wants to do, including the fridge. The fridge is always on, fully accessible. Like, for all her power needs, she is going to be set, and these batteries are basically never going to deep cycle unless she doesn't have sun for probably 4 to 5 days. I kind of had this epiphany, or this paradigm shift, whatever moment you want to call it, and I learned to see her house through her eyes. And that was the most difficult thing at first, but once we started gelling on it, it became so easy to build. So we built this in a garage, so it kind of got really tricky to build it because I can only build this high and still get it out her garage door the way everything was set up because of the height requirement, and actually it was a little bit higher. It was about right here. So I actually had to build this in 2 pieces. So I built the bottom, the walls, all of that first, and then I had to build the whole top section. Then we had to take it outside and put it together. Built the roof separate. What I did was I actually built the frame that was connected from about here up first, and then we started adding body panels up top. And we finished all that while it was outside in her front yard. So, okay, so the original trailer dimensions were 4 foot by 6 foot. You can buy this trailer at any Lowe's, and that's where she bought it. But you're allowed to build out to the edge of the wheel well, those kind of things. So when I did that and I extended it a little bit past where her toe connect is, it actually turned out to 7 foot or 5 foot 7 by 7 foot 1. One of the primary reasons and concerns we had about this build was weight. She is driving a Kia Niro, which, just so you know, if you ever want to put a hitch on this, it goes on pretty easy, but there is no 12-volt battery in this entire car, so I had to rip out the entire back seat just to find a certain area of her high voltage battery that they converted to act like a 12-volt battery. So I was on all kinds of forums just to figure it out, and so that's where we hooked up her lights line going through the system. But because it's a hybrid, it's got to be light, so that entire build came out at about 1,600 pounds with everything in it, her ready to go, living in it. So, you know, if you can keep a rig 1,500 pounds or less, I've seen a lot of people pulling all kinds of stuff out there with small cars, and it can be done, so remember that.